My phone stopped working. I didn't see it. I thought it was working fine, just maybe working a little less than usual, acting up, you see, but fine, really. Nothing to worry about. And yet my screen showed no text. Which is strange, because you see, I'm a good person, but a good person isn't in style these days. Still told in stores that we're out of stock right now, but we might have one good person in our downtown location, but only the what went wrong side. Sorry for that. You see, my personality is too different, too far from the constructed image of the newest 20-something star whose life has become a zoological study by PhDers on tabloid scholarships because his hair sits just so, and the contours of his face reflect those of discolored Greek statues, and he has a mother that's attempting to atone for her own failures through his accomplishments. I laugh at the wrong moments, and I get jealous sometimes, and maybe she saw in my eyes that in middle school I try to make fun of others to keep them from making fun of me. I don't look as good as I think I do when I tilt my head forward and smile slightly in the mirror. Maybe sure it's something about evolution or biology or both, and decide I'm not strong enough to defend her nest, not tall enough to show off to her friends, or not this enough, or not that enough, or not this enough, or not that enough, or not this enough. Enough. That hurts. Enough. But something seemed strange. I started getting suspicious. I started getting suspicious when I crafted the perfect text. I drew on the knowledge of the ages. I played around with semicolons and other symbols they never really taught us well in school, and I took the English language and I dissected it and deconstructed it and split it in half and sucked off the leftover insults and the crumbs of bullying and glued its pitiful characters back together, and the dictionary came out, and when that wasn't enough, the thesaurus too, hoping that longer words would give me a larger space to hide my insecurities behind, but it was too much too much, so I went with truth, only truth, until I ended up with, hey, wanna grab a drink this week? Silence. Silence. For hours on end, days unending. End is just a new beginning. They say end begins, new begins, but will end, but I never knew, and how will I know something I'm trying to begin has already ended if she who knows does not tell me? She was still silent. My phone was still silent. That's when it hit me. It was none of those things, not my wrong face, the wrong smile, or that her heart was leased out to someone else. It's just that my phone, you see, my phone stopped working. The signal from my heart to the keystrokes and onto the cell towers was fine, I'm sure, and maybe it even reached her little screen of solitude, but her response, which I know you know and I'm sure, was, hey, I'd love a drink. How does Thursday sound? Did not reach me because of a problem with the electrical signal up in a cell tower on 217 Broadway, because the night before, Kyle, the technician, did not sleep well. He had his own troubles. His wife's blood test worried him because the doctor had that tone when he asked him to come in tomorrow evening, and he hasn't spoken to his father in 4 years, and things just weren't going that well, you know. So when he went out to fix the tower, he used to communicate truths and lies and half-truths and just a little beauty. He didn't notice that a single piece of the wiring wasn't screwed in or was screwed up in a very specific way, in a way that would stop a single Jewish kid who was lonely enough from receiving text, but only from his potential love interest, because he got text from his mom just fine. So I decided to let Kyle rest. I decided to let Kyle rest and go fix it myself instead. I went to 217 Broadway and I climbed and I climbed and I climbed and I stopped, and then I climbed some more, and when I reached the top I found and removed the shameless culprit, a wooden detritus that lodged itself between the cable and me going to bed with warmth in my soul, and it worked. Of course it worked. Because later that evening in a little cafe just the other side of the street, a girl spilled coffee on me and apologized by texting me the next evening saying, hey, I'd love a drink. How does Thursday sound? The event? Thursday sounded pretty good, and so I went. When a few months later, she looked at me in bed and asked me what I was thinking about, I couldn't tell her I was thinking about truth and how cell towers shaped me. But she's just a girl, and you're humanity, dear friend, so I can tell you. This thing in my hand is nothing in itself. Just like humans, it only becomes something when it finds meaning. Just like humans, it needs a signal to be, to function, to feel useful. And so when Kyle the technician fucks with your signal, by God, you better go out there and fix it yourself.